Manifestation really is our innate power that we all have within. And then life happens and we get blocked. Therefore, we can't access that power. The thing is, remove the blocks so the creation energy that you were born with can flow through you, and your thoughts and intentions can materialize into things faster.
Guys, thanks for being here. I really love my job. I just got to experience an amazing energy healing and spiritual activation from our next guest, Oliver Niño. He is incredible. He started his life in business as an entrepreneur, and then he woke up and realized he's got this long lineage of healing in his bloodline, and he is actually a healer. We call him the Spiritual Activator, and you will learn why. One of the biggest things is he teaches us that if we are blocked off, if we turn away from our purpose, our gifts that we came here to express, it cuts us off from the source, from our life force energy and vitality, and we may end up sick. That could be at the root of what's going on in your life. I cannot wait. This is a powerful conversation. He also wrote a book, Do This Before Bed, 5 simple 5-minute practices that will change your life. And we talk about why setting those intentions before you sleep is really efficient and really powerful. So let's dive in. Oliver, thanks for coming.
Oh my God, thanks for having me.
So we just had our session, which is amazing. I got an energy healing. So we'll get into that and how you came about to be this amazing healer that you are. But first, we're going to do some rapid fire questions. So let's see. What's the wildest transformation you've seen in one healing session?
Oh gosh. Person on the ground, couldn't really move much, and has been through a lot of surgeries. And for 20 years, back to back to back surgery, chronic pain. And then afterwards, I think we even had this on camera, stands up, moves around, gone.
What? That's
Yeah.
crazy. Oh my gosh, that's wild. If you could have dinner with one spiritual teacher or master, living or on the other side, who would it be?
Ooh. It's going to be a tricky one, but I would go actually with my higher self. Embodied, in person. I want to see, talk, have a conversation, and like be like, what's he? I'm more of I am more of like a higher self person. So I'm like, that's what I want to embody, and I'm like, I'm kind of curious. What do you look? How do you talk? How do you speak? I can feel it, but I'm just like, in person would be pretty cool.
So is our higher self like our own personal ascended master, like, or the highest potential of us, or like
It's the version of us that is, to me, whole, complete, the most connected to source, God, higher power. It could be an ascended master. It could be the version of us that's gone through so many things and have absorbed all this wisdom and learned all the lessons, and they're not really affected by the programming of Earth and the story of Earth. So therefore, I feel like it's the version of you at the highest potential, at the highest levels.
Yeah.
So to me, it's just like, okay, what do I not know? What can't I see? What should I ask? Right? Those kind of questions.
I love that. Yeah, like removing the ego and the illusion of separation, right?
Yes.
So cool. What drains your energy the fastest, even as a healer and spiritual activator?
I would say the biggest one would be if there's anything going on in the family.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times everybody else is easy, right? But with family members, it's almost like they can get you into your human vibration where you feel stuff. So if it's anything family member, and I'm pretty good at it, but there's certain times where it's like, ooh, you caught it at the right moment, it can affect, right? Because of the vibration that it takes you when you're like worried about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, totally. I mean, there's so much I want to get into, so we're just going to dive in. That's a good start.
Okay.
So spiritual activator.
Yeah.
I just got a session and this was the first time I've experienced you. We've been talking for a while now, so I'm so grateful that you're here and we get to actually experience each other. I want to know how you got started doing the work you're doing, and then we can talk about your process of like clearing and then activating, which I thought was so unique and cool.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't plan for this. I felt like I was just thrown in a way, because my background is actually in business. You know, building businesses, scaling them, selling them, doing it again, serial entrepreneur. And somewhere along the process, it started to activate. I was in Sedona and things just started happening. I was like, what is going on, right? And it's like And when it turns on, you can't, it's kind of like an awakening. You don't choose when it happens. Sometimes something you don't know, stars align, and then next thing you know, you're going through an awakening. You're releasing stuff's coming up. For me, it was more of like seeing things, feeling things, knowing things, and later down the road, come to find my mom was like, okay, we come from a long lineage of healers. And I grew up in the Philippines, and apparently there's a lot of healing there. And for me, I'm like, I was so oblivious to it. Growing up, I didn't know, but runs in the bloodline and part of the culture. And I guess at certain times in your life when you're called to purpose, you don't get to choose when that happens. It can be in the middle of you running and growing a business. It comes up and you're like, what is this? What do I do with this? How do I handle it? So to me, it was very, very reverse. It was not something I studied. I didn't seek it out. I didn't want to, I was pushing it away for the longest time because I'm like, me, a healer? I like wearing all black. I'm in a rock band. Like, I love, the joys of the world, and I've got stuff that I'm working through still. How can I be a healer?
Yeah.
To me, I thought it would be wearing all white, and you're living off the sun and the air and the mountains, and you have zero negative thoughts, and you're just smiling the entire time. And I'm like, that's not me. So it was a huge identity crisis at the beginning.
Amazing. I mean, not amazing. And also, like, I just love when you come into alignment. I know so many healers that like were on a path and then, kind of suppress their gifts and then kind of hit rock bottom and it all awakened. So at least that didn't occur in a way,
Yeah, I mean, I fought it for a bit. And when you fight things, you get the wake up call. And it's, what do you say? It starts off as a whisper. And the next thing you know, it feels like a train hit you because you're like, you need a bigger sign, then here you go, right? So, I mean, it didn't get there, but it was kind of close, right?
So once you started feeling your gifts activate, what did that look like? Did you have to train to work with energy, or is it just like, boom, you had a knowing and then you just started working and honing?
I think I had a benefit earlier on of meeting people that at least taught like me about, here's a little bit of energy, here's how you ground. It's like the basic stuff. And I was like, okay, there's a world that exists that I don't know about, but it exists. So I'm not the first. So at the beginning, I had people that were familiar with the basics, and they showed me this entire world. And then from there on, it was a lot of it came. And as it came to me, I was very skeptical. I would try it on myself. I would see it. And then eventually I had the courage to be like, okay, let me try it on friends and family members. Next thing you know, I'm running multiple businesses. And I'm having so many people come, because back then I was doing a lot of things like over first 10,000 plus sessions. I was just doing it for free, referral based, and they would come, and I would do it because the energy would come, and I knew I had to do something, and it was the calling. And so to me, it was I was living a double life, like entrepreneur one by day, and then throughout is like, this closet healer. I mean, like, okay, this is weird, but this is what I do, right?
That's wild. And most healers like aren't good at business because they're living in a different realm or like connected to two worlds. So what a gift that you could operate in both. But that's funny. You were generating wealth on the side and then like healing for free because you knew that you had to let the energy flow through you.
It was almost painful not to. It's like it's almost like you drink a bunch of coffee and then you can't run or work out or do anything with it, and you're just sitting with it, and you just know it. You have to do something with it. And to me, it's always been like a fight of like, it's weird. I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to bring up energy. Okay, let me do it. And eventually I'm like, wow, I feel good. They feel good. And over time, my mind's like, okay, this can be a good thing. It doesn't have to be like a weird, unknown thing. It can just be like, you're here. And it aligned with my mission of I want to leave people better off than when I found them. So to me, when that happened, I'm like, okay, it aligns. It doesn't take away other than my time, but that's fine. And so earlier on, I just I fell in love with the process of it.
And at what point did you know, like, okay, I can actually make this a business and not be having so many side hustles? Or, I mean, that would be tough, I think, for you.
I feel like the universe, in a way, cornered me to it.
Okay.
It wasn't a jump because I was already, again, the businesses were successful, and it was my wife and I, Mandy, our first kid. We were living in Laguna Beach, and at that point in time, I'd worked with so many people that I knew somewhere deep down inside, consciously, that the people that I work with in their, they're in the later stage in life, a lot of their trauma comes from childhood. And that and my wife knew that I was like procrastinating stepping into it out of, not for any other reason than fear and things that, I needed to shift. So she said like, hey, how would you feel like if your son was born and grew up and he saw that, his dad was hiding? And I was like, oh, you really went there, but I needed it. So I was like, okay, that's it. No more business fun for me for the rest of the life. I'm going to be a healer and it's just not going to be fun. And who knows? It's just probably, because back then when I looked at healers, there was no role model of somebody that had it all. So to me, I thought I was going to lose the lifestyle. I was going to lose my love for business. And I thought I was going to be ostracized because, to me, it wasn't mainstream. It still isn't in a lot of ways. I mean, it's more accepted, but it wasn't a thing. So I was like, okay, I'm going to ostracize myself from my family, from my network, from my friends. But I'm like, you know what? I can't in my right conscious mind put this on my kid. So, for the highest good of all, I'm just going to jump and do it. So it was burn the bridges. It was go do it. I had no plan. I didn't know I was going to get anywhere with it. I didn't have a vision. There was no business plan. I was just led to do it. And then it was just one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm. And that's amazing, the partnership you have with Mandy, that she has the intuition. She's a life coach and she's brilliant in her own.
Yeah. I mean,
right.
she does. She started as a life coach and then she started with Manifest. And then now she's like, she trains therapists, teachers, like who want to become a life coach. She trains them how to do that. But yeah, she's like, to me, it's like been such an amazing relationship of, she knows when I have a blind spot or when something needs to be said and I need to hear it. And she just lovingly says the things that at times I'm like, I can't see or I need to hear or my soul needs to come through. And it's been a blessing every time.
What a good partnership.
Yeah.
Maybe we all find that partnership. You kind of mentioned manifestation. I'd love to just talk a little bit more about that, as I know, energy is all vibration.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on like how to manifest? Like, what percentage of control do we have over our lives, and what is destiny? Like, I believe we have the power to co-create. Like, there's infinite potentials, and with our vibration, we align with the ones, and to a certain extent. But then I also believe there's a higher intelligence from our higher self and spirit and source that put us here to learn things that we, might be challenging, that we can't manifest out of, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think it's twofold. Like when I look at manifestation, it's like, there's levels to it, right? There's like, let me think, let me mantra my way, let me force it. And I think at the very beginning, it helps because it's better than nothing. And when you start seeing, oh, I did it here and it works and great. Right. And people think that is the ultimate level. And I just think it's a level. I mean, to me, it's vibration based. And when you do the healing work, and I don't think it's talked about in manifestation a lot, but to me, manifestation really is our innate power that we all have within. And then life happens and we get blocked. Therefore, we can't access that power. And when you're blocked and you try to manifest, you're maybe using 1% or 2% of your potential. So it's slow. It's like pure will, and you're doing it, and it's inconsistent. It happens sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't happen. It happens for the small things, but not the big things. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? Maybe I should just say this mantra 10,000 more times today, and maybe it works. And not realizing, no, the thing is, remove the blocks. So the creation energy that you were born with can flow through you, and your thoughts and intentions can materialize into things faster. And what I realized is when you've done enough of the work and you've elevated in vibration, you don't even have to manifest. Things find you before you can even manifest, because that's where it exists. So to me, I think, it's a lot of work at the beginning when you do the work, but when you do the work, you get to a place where life gets really, really easy because things just find you, and you just have to think about, you have to work on, I got to get used to receiving. I got to get used with how fast things come. I got to get used to not pumping the brakes when it comes, and it becomes a different set of things. You forget about manifesting. You're just in alignment, right?
Yeah.
And along the way, there's also lessons that are, I call them soul lessons, that our soul came here to learn, whether it's for purpose. And those things show up a lot of the times and we don't think they're important. But to me, they are 100% connected to manifestation. Because when you learn the soul lesson, you raise it in the vibration, therefore you access more of the manifesting energy. So to me, I find them to be, I find it helps. Although it might be like, what does it have to do with that? I want to manifest this, but I'm getting called to shine my light, to forgive, to do this, to be present. How does that even relate to what I'm building? And people think it's separate. And I'm like, no. When you learn that, it elevates your vibration. Therefore, it's the fastest way for you to manifest.
Yes.
So to me, I see him as similar.
I love how you just broke that down. It makes so much sense to me. Because I started out like consciously like manifesting and stuff would happen. And I'd be like, wow, this stuff really works. But then at a certain point, you're like, okay, it does feel like effort. Yeah. But you do the practices and then you do the healing and then you raise your vibration and then you come into it. Like, I feel like I'm in this very much aligned flow state now. But if you look at the last 2 to 6 years, it's been very rocky roads and intense. But like, you have to go through these certain trials and tribulations to then do the work to expand your consciousness and capacity so that you can land in this phase that I'm at right now. And then I'm still going to do the practices, the manifestation and play with them. And that's the key for me, is like playing and like being in this like joy, like awe, magic, like life is truly magical and mystical, and like really appreciating this alignment flow. But then you and I just work together again, which I feel like is a result of this flow and alignment state that I'm in. And I'm just sitting there going, what a gift to be able to work with Oliver. And now you cleared blocks that are keeping me from that next phase, which I'm excited to see what happens in the next month or two. So explain to the listeners and the viewers, like how you worked with me and how you work in general.
Yeah. So when I first started out, the first 10,000 plus healing sessions, it was very much one-on-one, right? And then it elevated to, it was like, because at first I thought, okay, I need to be with somebody in person to be able to work with energy. And then that evolved to where like, oh no, you can actually do it remotely. And people know this, like, like, have you ever had it to where you're randomly thinking of somebody and next thing they text you, call, you bump into them and you're like, what are the odds? Right? And to me, we're so connected energetically to where we don't need to be in front of someone. It can be done remotely. So I did that, and then it evolved to now, it did small groups. And then I was like, my gosh, how am I able to do that? And I every step along the way, I was like, oh no, it's impossible. No one's ever done it. And now, luckily, like last year, I did one with 100,000 people online.
Wow.
And I was like, blew my mind. I'm like, wow, I never would have thought that it's possible. Not in a million years, but when I'm working with people, people are different. Some of them see the energy, feel it, they know it. For me, I'm tuning in and I can feel it and I know where the blocks are. So I'm scanning the body, figuring out where are the blocks, right? And these blocks can be, like we talked about, from environment. Environment can be causing the blocks, negative environment, people that aren't supportive, where you're living, ley lines, geopathic stress. It could be traumatic life events. Something happened in your life earlier on, and whether you know it or sometimes you know what it is, you're like, oh, it's this thing that happened. And sometimes you're unaware of it. Like, you're like, you didn't know, and this happened, and it registered as a trauma, and you're like, oh, and it's affecting you. So sometimes it's that. A good amount of times it's gestational. And you're in the womb, mom goes through something and it affects you. And that's why I'm not a big believer of you have to know it all to shift it all. Because if it happened before you, then how are you able to know it? Mm-hmm. And if you're a kid growing up, how many of the things that have happened you either blocked out or you're just weren't aware of it, right? Or your mind's protecting you from it. Mm-hmm. And they did studies on it that showed that the mind at times will cut neural pathways for you to access trauma to protect you from it because it doesn't think you can handle it.
I've heard so many stories where people do some healing work like in their 30s and they remember this really dark trauma that happened at 4 years old that they had completely repressed because of this cutting of the neural pathway. That's wild.
It is. And it's for self-protection, but you're like, if you think that I need to know it and visit it to heal it, then it's it's impossible in my mind. And then there's generational trauma, like, your great grandparents had it, your grandparents have it, your parents have it, you have it. It's not even something you created. You're probably here to break the cycle, and it feels very, very real. So to me, when I'm working with people, it's why I love energy, because I don't need to know what it is. Every single one of those things leaves an energetic imprint in the body. And if it's affecting you now, there's a chance that it's not even the event anymore. It's the block that it left behind that's still in your life that is causing things to show up over and over and over again, like a pattern. And to me, I look for those blocks. I'm guided to remove them and replace them with your natural energy, because your natural energy is the connected energy. It's the whole energy. It's the manifesting energy. It's everything that you need. And to me, my role is simply connecting people back to who they are. Because when I see people, I don't see them as broken or flawed. I see them as whole, and life happens. So to me, I'm guided to, like, can I connect you back to your wholeness? And when that's aligned, then things flow. People heal, people manifest, people feel better, people have more clarity, right? And so to me, that's kind of like one of my main things is, can I bring you back to you?
And remove everything that is not you.
That isn't you.
Yeah, distortions. And then you have become known, I think your wife, Mandy, shout out to Mandy, by the way, I can't wait to meet her, coined the term spiritual activator, because you activate people's gifts once you remove all the distortions of who they aren't.
Yeah, I was in Sedona, and I remember Mandy noticed. She's like, for the last few weeks, everyone that's around you, they either start channeling, or they become a psychic, or they're all of a sudden a healer. And I'm like, no. And my mind's very pattern based. So I'm like, no, it's not. Well. And I started thinking, I'm like, oh, shoot, you're right. And it was funny because I didn't know I was doing it. And I didn't know. And I thought it was an accident at first. So I just kept paying attention to it. And it came to a point where I was like, okay, God, universe, higher power, whatever your listeners believe in, viewers. I was like, all right, there's something happening, and it's happening outside of my control. I don't know how it's happening, when it's happening, but if I'm going to be given this gift, I at least want to know how to use it on demand. And then over the next, few months, it started showing up. But yeah, to me, it's like, I've come to realize that we all come here with spiritual gifts, all of us, whether we access it, whether it stays dormant, whether it's repressed, whether it expresses itself in this lifetime. It doesn't always happen. I wish it does. But to me, I feel everybody has it. And these gifts are here to guide us through life. It's our Northern Star. It's what guides us to avoid pain and to skip this unnecessary suffering, to get to where we want faster, to do our purpose work. And I've seen it to where when people aren't accepting their gifts, and this is actually the story I shared with you earlier on, when I did a healing on that person that was on the ground, it wasn't a regular healing. That was more of a gift activation. And when they embrace their gift is what got them, in my mind, well. And the reason why is I feel like the gift that runs through us, think about it. If the gift that runs through us that we're supposed to share and do in this world, if it's supposed to impact the world, then think about the vibration that it has. And when you suppress that, it's like you are unconsciously not feeding your soul what it needs. Therefore, at times you could get sick. It could affect your body because it's not getting what it's used to as fuel energetically. And I've seen it to where people at times are experiencing physical stuff because they're not stepping into their gifts.
Yes. I love the way in Heal, I interviewed Jeffrey Thompson, who's like this sound neuroacoustic wizard with chiropractic background, but he figured out the unique frequency that drops your specific nervous system into parasympathetic. And it's like a sound frequency, like a specific tone. It's like wild. So it's frequency and vibration to your system. And he said, there comes a time in your life, there's a fork in the road, and you go down Should Avenue, which society and your parents and everybody else says you should be a doctor, for example, and you cut off those natural gifts and the natural like forward movement vitality of your God-given gifts. Maybe it's like a pottery or a healer or, whatever it is, like that a musician, artist, or it could be a doctor and you do something else. So that's when dis-ease begins. And I think exactly what you're saying, it's like, as you're talking, that person on the ground in chronic pain, surgery is just like literally had cut off his vitality, which is that connection to life force source, right? When we are in denial or resistance to this natural energetic flow of our life direction, and we say nope out of fear or judgment or whatever.
And I've also seen it happen at a younger age. So examples, because sometimes it is the doctor. It is, okay, I'm going to choose this path to where I'm going to be a certain way, be more in my head, not in my heart. But I've seen it happen with kids. If they have a gift and the parents are too afraid of it, it's too much, a fear of the unknown, and they either put fear in it and it shuts it off, or if a kid has a gift that's overactive, next thing you know, they can't sleep, they're seeing things, they're feeling things. I had a gal that came to me, and her gift is in a way premonition. So she would see a vision of, let's say, a house burning down in the street and the corner sign. And the next thing you know, she would see it in the news, and she would see that. And nobody taught her about the gift. Nobody taught her that you can elevate into higher vibration so you don't see it. All she thought about was, this is painful. I don't know how to handle it. So she shut it off. Not because it probably was the right thing to do, because it was too intense. Yeah. So it's a lot of times it's a decision to shut it off. At times it is, I'm not going to fit in with people there. I'm gonna lose love and connection, so I'm gonna dim it a little bit. At times it is, you go through unbearable pain in your heart and you decide, you know what, my heart isn't a safe place to live in, therefore I am going to protect it. I'm not going to be there. I'm going to focus on something that's going to get me out of my heart. And it's decisions like that we don't realize that dim it, but it's never gone. It's there. It's always, whether it's silent, whether your body tells you, whether it's a nudge, whether it's loud, it's always there. But something happens to dim it in a way to where we can't access it in the way it was designed.
Totally. And that's probably more often than not, it happens like
more often than
childhood.
Not. I see it more often than not. And it's why one of my things is like, I wonder what the world would be if kids never turned off their light. But what kind of world would we live in, right? And that's one of my goals, is like, and eventually it's like, the solution is eventually kids don't, because they become adults. And imagine if all the adults had their gift, had their light, had their purpose, and it would be a very different world.
Yeah, I love the idea of that world.
Right?
That's why it's wonderful what you're doing, because you're activating people's gifts and you're helping to make sure that otherwise we're just all kind of, unconsciously sleepwalking our way.
Repeating the past.
Yeah. Sometimes the most powerful reminder we need this season is you deserve to feel good, not just emotionally, but physically, in your clothes, in your skin, in every layer. That's why I love Honey Love. Their bras and shapewear are designed by women who actually wear them, and it shows. The crossover bra is one of my go-tos. It's wireless, stays put, and gives me that held feeling without any pressure or pain. And their shapewear, it's like a cozy hug that fits under everything from thin cashmere and silk to holiday dresses. Supportive, breathable, and it doesn't roll. Ever. It's my secret weapon when I've been indulging a little too much, if you know what I mean. This season is busy, but your comfort doesn't have to be negotiable. Treat yourself or someone you love to Honey Love this holiday season, and right now you can save 20% off at honeylove.com/heal. Just use our exclusive link, honeylove.com/heal, to grab your discount. After your order, they'll ask you where you heard about Honey Love, so please support our show and let them know we sent you. Celebrate the season feeling confident and comfortable with Honey Love. There's a lot of people that say they're healers. How do people cultivate the discernment to know whether a healer is the real deal? I mean, there's people that channel, or like, let's take Osho as an example. Like, there are people that have tremendous gifts that are still very human and have blind spots, and can do not so kosher things. So how do we navigate that?
Okay. It's a good one, because to me, and this is one of the things that I experienced earlier on, like, there were some channels back in the day, I was like so fascinated. Like, they're really good. I mean, they're spot on, and they make so much sense. I love their energy. And this is one of the things that I'm actually figuring out a solution to it, if there is a solution, because I've seen it at times when life happens, or when status shows up, notoriety, fame, ego. And if you feed that too much to where that becomes bigger than the purpose, it shifts you to a vibration to where what you used to access, you can't access as potently anymore. And it changes your gift and people can notice it. And to me, I'm like, I've lost some of my, because I train healers, some of the best healers that I'm like, gosh, you have a heart of gold, you have amazing results. And it was, I didn't know to look for it back in the day. I just thought, okay, if they're that, then they'll be that forever. Right. And to me, I guess I kind of lucked out because when I grew up, in my family, we grew up, we had it all, then we lost it all. So the very beginning of my life, that was when I was trying to heal. It's like, okay, maybe I can, get it all back, and help my mom, help my sisters, and restore back what was taken. And that was the first wound that I needed to heal, was the abundance wound. That's why I feel like I was led to business at the beginning. So to me, like, that came with the abundance, the notoriety, and it didn't really faze me much at all. And
because you had that humbling experience.
I had a humbling experience. I knew what it was like. I grew up with it, I grew up without it. So I'm like, I knew it was something that shocked me. But for some people, like, it's so hard to predict how they'll react when all of a sudden they have a fame or status or money or attention. And it's not that it's bad. I mean, you get a moment of like, oh, wow, this is feeling good. But does that derail you to where you start chasing that over purpose, which is what got you there, and not realizing what is the more important thing? What is it? Is it the fame, or is it helping people? You can get the all the stuff that comes from helping people, but what's your northern star? And I feel like when people lose that, they lose a part of their gift, and it's a sad thing. But when people are going through healers, it's a feeling thing. I believe that if you feel good, if you feel like you resonate with them, if they feel like they're here to help you and they can help you, I'm bigger now on embodiment. I'm like, okay, if they're coming into my life and they have to be based in love, and they have to be doing the work, and they have to be mindful of their own energy and all that stuff. But when I first started out, it was like, anyone that can help me in any area. If you have something that I don't know, if you're just one step ahead of me, then please. And there was a lot of those moments, right? So ideally, it's someone that has all of the above. Otherwise, it's just someone who you feel like can help you at least in this moment. It's better to get, I mean, I'm biased, but I feel like because I've been growth oriented for so long, and it's benefited me. It's better to get help from someone who can at least show you the next step, because they know that, versus like they have to know all 10,000 steps.
Totally. And I think what I've just been, talking about, or my own personal experience, has led me to this point where I'm like, okay, I've met enough of my just people that have helped me tremendously. Like I made heal, like I wanted to put all my teachers in a film. And then of course I sit down with them and I'm like, oh, that's interesting that they operate that way. And you get to know that these people with tremendous gifts that changed the world, changed me for the better, also have, like I said, blind spots and are human. No judgment. And, for the most part, like 99.9% of the people I sat down with are like, they're all in the phase of their life where they're just in service and they're heart-led, and they're all wonderfully, beautifully, like amazing, awake humans. But I would say, like, the guru, like, just be aware of, and you can articulate this much better than I'm doing, like, like you just said, learn from the teacher, take from it, and then, if you're getting to the point where you're kind of like obsessed and going down and like entering the cult of this person, just be aware that really, like, we all have our unique gifts. Take the teachings and then put them through our filter. Like, this is the highest guru, is each and every one of us listening has our own unique filter and our own unique gifts. So it's like, take from the teachers, but don't fully subscribe and give all your power away to them, because they're reflecting back wisdom that activates us. But we all have our own truth meter, and we've got to run it through too. So I kind of, it's like that 80-20 rule of like eating, so I don't live a rigid life. It's like, I want to enjoy and have pleasure. It's like foundationally get the nutrition and the nourishment, but then like give it your 20% twist of your own vibe.
I agree 100%. And me and my wife have this rule of like, we want to fire ourselves as fast as possible. A lot of, when I did my initial healings with the first 10,000, a lot of them were one and done. Because my goal is, I want to get to the root, so that they never have to you never have to be in this pain, and then I'm gone.
That's amazing.
And even now, we tell our day one, we tell a lot of people that we get, the pleasure of observing. We're like, one, we're very upfront with we actually broadcast a lot of our flaws. I'm like, just, hey, this is how we are, da 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 da, and because I want them to know that it's okay. You can serve and not have everything perfect.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times people are like, I gotta get it perfect to serve. I'm like, nope. Just have the heart and the desire and the courage to, but you don't have to be perfect. I'm still a work in progress. And I tell them, one. Second is, our goal is like, whether it's a week, a day, in a month, a year, like, you don't need us. Because our goal is to reconnect you to you, and you're tapped into the same thing we're tapped into. And my biggest, when I look at the things I'm proud of the most, is the healers that I've certified that have done things that are beyond me, that like I'm not interested in. It's not my gift. It's not my calling, and they've done stuff, and I'm like, it's amazing. Because to me, that's like, all right, I did my thing. I connected them, or I was a part of their healing, or part of their story, and it got them here. And I realized too, that's one of the big things, is I may not be the one to bring it to the finish line. Yeah, some people I do, like, they come, I am. And some people I'm like, you know what? I open them up for the next one, or the second one, and and I'm like, I don't care. I'm part of the process.
Yes.
And that's been, to me, it's like, it still is part of the mission of affecting billions all over. It's like, I'm part of the ripple.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important, because when I look at society and I look at how we got here, through centuries of giving our power away, I think the root of it is we've forgotten who we are. We put people on pedestals. We've given their power away. We think they're special, that they don't have it, and they have all the answers, versus like, they're a mere reflection of what we have within, and it's showing you what you have within. It's probably a reminder of what we have within. Therefore, my goal is like removing a lot of the blocks so that you can step into that. And when you do, life changes. And that's my goal, is empowering people. And a lot of it is we've given our power away too much.
Yeah, totally. That's exactly what my work is all about. I do my little portion of the garden, but you activated something in me today. So we'll see what the next phase has in store, which I'm super grateful for and excited to experience. So you mentioned after the healing that there's maybe like a week of integration.
Yeah.
And then what am I, like, buckle up, or what's happening?
Depends. I mean, when people haven't done the work, it's very different from people who have done the work. So when people haven't done the work, I can tell, or not even, I don't want to say haven't done the work, but they haven't dug deep. Because when you work, I have this theory, when you're working on something, you work at the core, at the root of it. Because when you're working on the fruit and the branches, it can just grow another one. And it's a never ending cycle, versus if you get it in the root, it affects everything else. So when I get it right and I get to the root, then some people purge mentally, emotionally, physically, environmentally, connection wise. Because think about it, when you are removing what no longer serves you, you elevate in vibration. And you know this, I can tell by your breath that you've done this. And when you elevate in your vibration, then some people, some connections, some events, some physical conditions, some things in your reality no longer are a match for that vibration. Therefore, they lovingly, or not so lovingly, exit.
Stage left.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Over time, I used to be a very black and white person. In a lot of ways, I still am. But I realized that even when you think something is over, at times it's just could be creating space. It could come back, and it could be more. Now there's boundaries. Now because you did that, it was uncomfortable. But then they went to their journey, and then they healed, and then they're back. So it's not forever. I thought it was forever. When those things come, you think it's forever, but it's not. So things that don't belong in your life, they're gonna come. Whether it's thoughts, whether it's traumatic things, whether it's triggers, whether it's people that drain you and just take. I mean, boundaries come, and the things that are supposed to be in your life, it also comes. It's this big revolving door, and you're tired at times. If you have a lot to release, you get tired. For some people, it's actually the opposite. Some people are like, I'm so tired, and they have to rest, and they feel like, they ran a marathon, because that's what it is. If you've been holding those blocks for your life or for generations, then when you're removing it, it's like a surgery, and you have to treat it as such and take care of yourself as such. And for some, I've had it to where, like, I have so much energy. I'm the happiest I've ever been. I can go sleep. I can do things. And it's complete reverse. So it's not always pain.
Mm-hmm.
At times it is the good things show up as well, especially when you've done a lot. And then it's like, you're not experiencing your old associations of, oh, healing has to be purging and difficult. It just becomes, wow, I'm just lighter. Everything's great. Things are showing up. There are levels to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I do feel like I've been purging all my material items in June, went up in smoke. And then I did start noticing in the last year, like wildly, and I'm at this place where I realize it's just when you do the work and you raise your frequency or you exit a field or a relationship or whatever, like your frequency changes, and then people that are no longer aligned spin out. And there was very uncomfortable circumstances, like with two people that I like genuinely loved, and then they had this completely different experience of reality of a situation, and I was like, what? And so they spun out of my life, and I was just like, wow, okay, so, but that's how it works. And to really not take it personally, trust that it is protection, redirection, like making space for what's really aligned in your people. And the sooner that we have that awareness, the sooner we can let go and suffer less and send them love. And if they're meant to come back, they come back, and we can, so it really has, like, I've experienced that in the last year. And so I feel like for whatever's going to happen after this week of integration, I'm prepared.
Well,
I shouldn't have said that. Knock on wood. Universe, with grace and ease, please.
and it's not always painful.
Okay.
It's not always painful. And this is the thing. So I'll give you an example. Like when I used to do healings in the past, before I met my wife and earlier on, I was very, very intense. The whole room purged every time. Stomach ache, they're in pain. There's like, their loved ones are in pain because if I'm healing them or facilitating the healing and that specific block's connected to their mom and dad are in pain, not even there. They don't even know, right? But we're all connected. And my wife's work, she brought a level of love that, higher level of unconditional divine love that I thought was, at first I thought it was corny.
Mm-hmm.
It's a frequency. And she vibrates on, and I was like, this is really, really corny, and I don't know about love. It's like, I just thought it was slow. And then when I saw that she was doing the things that I couldn't do and the things that I did without even healing people, just the presence of love and how fast things heal, I was like, I'm obviously missing something here. So I incorporated a lot of it, throughout the last 10 years into my work, and ever since then, everything's been easy. Not purging is like
graceful.
very, very rare.
Yeah.
I still get the results, but with love. You can get a level 10 with rainbows and gentleness, but it's still a level 10. And at the big, and I think it also had to do with my mindset in the past. I just thought it had to be that intense for it. That means that I release something big if this happens.
Yes, you needed that feedback.
And over time, as you progress, it's an identity shift, because the higher you are, you're not looking for the big things that throw you off. It no longer is the big things.
Mm-hmm.
They're the small things that you miss.
Yeah.
Because at higher vibrations, those small things become big things. But if you worked on all the big things, you're looking for the big thing. There's no big thing. You're like, what else am I missing? Is there another big thing? You're not going to find it. Because the things that are holding you back, they're the level 1 or 2 out of 10. The time that you could have, you wanted to say no, but you said yes. And it wasn't even really like you just feel like you're not in your power. It's the small things that compound. So if you're still looking for the big things, you'll miss out. You'll miss out on the small things that matter.
And in that, or with that, for the people that may have not experienced a 10 with you, or or they're genuinely like showing up, like what's happening if your work is not landing, or is it like, and you're like, well, it just never happens. No, but like, do you know what I'm trying to ask?
It happens. And I love that you asked this, because at the very beginning, I was so used to level 10s. That's all I looked for. And I was like, gosh, if they're not, I'll give you an example. Like, this was one, my wife did a workshop in Sedona, her first one. And everyone was, and it was, back then it was all men, because she was healing her father wound. So the whole room was men, and it was like helping men start over. And this grown men bawling, the entire time. And there's this one guy, like he was a biochemist, had his hat on, had glasses on, and you couldn't get a read. And I remember the entire time Mandy was like, it didn't matter if majority of them were crying, bawling, you're getting the level 10, you're getting the confirmation, like what I said really landed. She just couldn't stop
Fixated on
thinking.
this one guy.
Yeah. And towards the end, she was like, gosh, I feel like that workshop, I failed this one guy. I don't think I did really, really well because I couldn't save him, I couldn't help him, I couldn't heal it. And she was like really, really fixated on that. And then time went by, and then the guy reached out. And he was like, thanks for that. Like, apparently he was suicidal, and he wasn't anymore. And he said the reason why he was wearing glasses is because he was crying, and he was shifting, and it took time for him to build the courage to let her know. And in her mind, it didn't look a certain way, but there's a process. So for me, over time, I've learned to trust the process. It could be like, yes, the work right now, I'm planting the seed. It might come in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Or in a month, and it always comes back. I just don't know the timing. So for me, I just know if I'm doing my part, then the rest is higher power, whenever that unfolds. And if it's something in the moment that's great for my mind to be like, okay, that works. But I've learned to just go higher and be like, it's a process. And if I get feedback, great. But my feedback is I did the work.
Yeah.
And however it unfolds, it unfolds. So to me, it's hard living in that space, but that's what serves the most when I'm doing the healings.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. It's like you've gotten so much, you're no longer seeking the external validation. You're trusting. You're just an open channel for whatever the divine gifts want to flow through you. And everybody else, the healees, they all have to run their own process and journey, life's journey. And maybe they're going to block it until they unblock it, meaning allow it, or it just is going to take its process because of their energetic imprint, so that makes so much sense. It's like that's how to really show up and be present, as do the work so that you can just be an open, present channel for whatever gifts that you're supposed to bring into the world, and then let it go with attachment. And like just it's that present moment is really what every teacher tries to say. It's like enlightenment is reached in this present moment, and that's what I'm trying to just be in the present moment and allow.
And I see a lot of, and I used to be one of them, is when I look at presence, it's not you have to be present 100% of the time, all the time. And if you're not present at all, then that means that you're messing up. To me, I feel it's like a lesson. It's almost like if you're being called to speak your truth and shine your light, you're not doing it 24/7 with everybody, with the mailman or with the grocery person. I just got to speak my truth. And if I don't, then I'm failing. It's when you're called. So presence is when you're called to be present, when you remember to be present, you're trying to, and realizing, okay, every day I'm getting more and more present. I'm being more aligned with the energy of present versus I have to be at 24/7.
Yes.
And because think about the reverse. Let's say you think I got to be present 24/7. And the one time that you're not, you're like, oh, I wasn't present for good reasons. Maybe you're hugging your daughter and your dog's barking. Someone comes in, and how could you be present when there's external world stuff coming?
Yeah.
And then you catch yourself in that moment, and you're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't present. I messed up. And you think about the spiral that it causes. Now it's running without vibration when it wasn't even really an issue. It was just life happens, and you granted yourself grace, and then you're fine. So when I look at presence, I categorize it as one of the virtues or the practices that we're here to learn, we're here to do, and we love ourselves when we do it, when we don't do it, and we try to connect with it as often as we can when we're called to, and we grow that muscle as often as we can. And that's how I look at, these practices. It's not meant to be a 24/7 thing. Otherwise, I feel like it's unattainable, and it throws everything off of balance.
Yeah.
Personally, it's my belief.
I totally agree. And it's like this human factor. It's like we still exist in this 3D world, and we're going to get caught, in the thing. Before we get into your book that's sitting right here that I want to get into, best, like, again, you're so beautifully open and transparent about your humanity. And you have this beautiful family. what's your advice, like relationship advice? Like, how are you and Mandy making it work in the 3D? Like, just as two humans
I met,
continuing to evolve.
yeah, when I met her, I wasn't looking for her. I was going through my deepest healing. I was in the process of getting a divorce, and I went to Sedona, and I was like, anything that is holding my heart back from experiencing myself and experiencing love for myself, I want to release it. And apparently 2 weeks before, she had a similar intention. God, please remove anything and anyone that doesn't serve the highest purpose. And within a week, we showed up in each other's radar. We weren't even looking for each other. I had so much more healing to do in my heart. And that's why I don't think you have to be loved to find love, because I think we are love. It's more of when you do the right things at times, it gets us to a vibration to where we meet people and you grow with them. And the one thing that, looking back, I feel like was such a good decision is it wasn't like, I'm going to love you till you're old and we're going to stick it through. It was like, no matter what, two things. We're going to grow as a couple or individually. Whatever life throws us at, we're going to be growth oriented. And to me, looking back, like, that's brilliant, because I didn't know back then. Because in a relationship, in a friendship, in a partnership, you grow. There's many seasons of growth. And if you grow and the other person doesn't grow, then you outgrow them. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of you outgrowing them. And then that's it. And if things happen, trials and tribulations, you grow so you can grow past them. So it was a beautiful promise, because it didn't matter what happened, we were equipped with growth. Second was purpose. We're going to support each other with purpose, and we're going to live a life of purpose, whether together or individually, because we knew that we were here for something bigger, and we wanted. And I knew, when we were friends first, and I knew her purpose. I saw her light. She saw mine, and we held each other to the fire of like, we're going to grow in purpose, and we're going to lovingly push each other to the best version that we're here to do. And those two things served. And I think it's because those are higher than we just need to be together and love each other through all those different things. There was something bigger than that. And those two were really foundational.
Cool. So cool. For someone who may not have access to you, I don't know how, or say you and all of the people that you've trained weren't available to them, what would you recommend someone does on a daily basis, or just to start to kind of remove their own blocks? Is it as much as just intention and doing the work, like, connecting with nature, meditation, spiritual texts, like what? Yeah. How does one begin to clear their own blocks until they can take the steps forward?
In an ideal world, people don't need us. People don't need healers, because we all have it within, and that's the beauty of your work. And I'm a big believer in it. I'm a big believer when people are like, well, I don't believe in crystals and energy work. I'm like, you don't have to. You're doing it already. And I tell people, we were born with the mechanisms to heal. My wife, when she wakes up, she has to move her body. Because when you move your body, what you're doing, when you're going to sleep, you're absorbing energy. You have a lot of stuck energy. When you wake up, when you're moving your body, you're releasing excess energy through movement. So for some people, it's yoga, it's dancing, it's moving. She likes to journal. Why is journaling important for some? I mean, to me, it's not. I'm not as avid as she is, and I am in business, but she's more every day. Because when you're absorbing things or you're processing things, it's in your heart. When you're journaling, it's pen to paper. You're channeling those, and now the energy has somewhere to go. She likes being by herself and having solitude, at least when she wakes up, away from the kids, away from the phone, 5, 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes a little goes a long way when everything is busy. Why is that important? So she can have a moment to where there's no drains and demand on her energy. She can connect with her higher power. She can get replenished. She can have the clarity. She can have in the right vibration to step into the day supported. That works for her. For me, it's salt baths, because earth, wind, fire, water, the elements help. It is love and connection, spending time with my son, family, when your heart is open and you're having fun, and sometimes that's the clearing for some. For some, it's pets, it's animals, it's pottery, it's out being in nature, it is singing, it is serving, it is doing your purpose work. When you do your purpose work, you're aligned. And I tell people, you don't need a healer. It goes against it goes against what people think. You don't need a healer. You are your own healer. In a way, it's just a matter if you're practicing it. And you look at your life and you look at the things when you're the most stressed, what calms you down? What do you do? And what you do, it's very simple. Make a list of all that stuff and you do it even when you don't need it. And when the day is harder, you do more of it. And if you have to block off half a day, or a darkness retreat, right? You do it because you need it and you just go all in. And we live in a society to where we don't have time for that. And the more intense it is, the less that we do. I'm like, nope, you do it. And the more intense it is, you meet it where it's at, because that's what clears you. It's what heals you. So I am a big believer. I'm a big believer. People don't need to believe in energy. You don't have to pick up a crystal. You don't have to do any stuff, get any healing. We all have it within. These are all tools that help us when we need it, so we can return back to that understanding that we all have it within.
Yes. Which brings us to this book, which says, do this before bed, simple 5-minute practices that will change your life. So why before bed? What compelled you to write this book? And talk to me about dreaming, or what, just all the magic that happens when we are asleep and regenerating.
I looked at my posts on Instagram, and a lot of people were enjoying do this before bed. Because I'll be like, okay, if you want more abundance in life, do this before bed. Or if you want to release negative energy you absorb, do this before bed. And I started seeing, oh wow, do this before bed. People love it. So I'm like, okay. And I love bedtime because think about when your morning routines, I love them, but you have to get traction at the beginning of the day at times so you can get with your day, right? Like, especially if it's you're traveling, you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, you're processing a lot. It's like 30 minutes, an hour and a half. Sometimes you wish you needed more. Bedtime, I like it because whatever you do at bedtime, it opens up 5, 6, 7, 8 hours of you being in that state uninterrupted. So it's the hack. So if you are in a high vibration before going to bed and you're working on abundance for 8 hours uninterrupted, that's where you're staying at, where you're like, I'm going to be positive. Dogs barking, kids are coming in, emails are demands of the world. You had 5 minutes in that space. It's not enough.
Yeah.
So I like the fact that it's uninterrupted, and that whatever you focus on energetically, intentionally with your mind, that it does lend itself to sleep, and then it grows as you sleep. So for me, I just found it more efficient.
I love it. I'm a morning person, but now I'm gonna.
What I've realized is if you do the night stuff, the morning gets easier. And I would even say this, like, you do the night stuff, you can miss some of the morning stuff, and you're like, I'm still on track.
You're so good.
But I still do the morning stuff, don't get me wrong. But if you get the night right, the morning is so much easier. Because you don't wake up with, anxiety or a lot of energy, you're tired, or you feel like, no clarity. You just wake up good.
Yeah.
And then you don't need as much.
And it probably helps you sleep. So many people have sleep issues, or I fall asleep fine, but sometimes I wake up at 2:22 or 3:13 or whatever it is every night. And then you're like, you start to think about one thing, and then that train that could have been positivity and intention and like manifestation or abundance or love or whatever it is that you're focused on before you go to bed takes off down, anxiety row.
Yeah. And that's because we absorb so much energy from people, places, situations that we experience throughout the day. So if you don't release it, it affects you throughout the nighttime. Next thing you know, instead of you rejuvenating, learning in your sleep, manifesting, feeling good, getting that energy, and it goes to where your body needs it. Now you're dealing with the person that you're connected to, the place that you were at, and processing that for them. So you never really have anything for you.
Yeah.
And so it's why it's important. Like, and I thought, like, no one's talking about nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone talks about morning, which is great, but I don't know. I just always felt like nighttime is where it's at. Because if you get it right, then you're sleeping, and you can even learn. You can be like, before I go to sleep, I want to release this. I want to learn this. I'm open to this, and you'd be surprised with what shows up because you're directing your energy and your conscious mind to work on stuff before you go to sleep, and you're working on it for 6 to 8 hours versus like, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and I get interrupted throughout the day. So I just saw it as, again, efficient. No one was doing it, but it's like, it's powerful.
I love it. I cannot wait to start doing this before bed. Beautiful. So where can people, like, what kind of healings do you offer now, or healers that are intrigued and think they have a gift? And so what do you offer, and where can people find you?
I mean, I would start off with social media. I post all my good stuff there, like Instagram, Spiritual Activator, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. And I post, I would say all of my good stuff is online for free. Check it out, see what resonates, and see what path it leads you. I'm a big believer of like, hey, check it out. Like you said, sample it, see if it's relevant, see if it resonates, go, run it through your internal filter. And if it does, then I'd be blessed and just grateful to be able to help any way I can.
Awesome. That's Spiritual Activator. And then before you leave, as an entrepreneur, launching an app and my next media projects and creating this whole movement and company and startup, what is your entrepreneurial advice for me, or one piece?
Oh, it's coming. Is don't underestimate how fast you can do it. Because every time when I look at my own journey, I'm like, gosh, I wish I would have believed much quicker, much faster. I wish I would have moved. When I see what's possible, it's almost like when you see, people who are really, really well off, they're a billionaire and they lost it all and they gain it back so quickly. And it's the belief, it's the possibility, it's the knowing, it's the action. And when I see that, I'm like, we all have it, but the limitation of like, it has to go at this space, like, and it can be faster. It's what slows us down. So I always have to remind myself of like, think bigger, and I think even bigger than that, and push stuff even bigger than that. And the best way that happens is if I surround myself with people who are living in that level already, and it's normal for them. Therefore, on a mental, emotional, energetic level, I'm just absorbing it like a sponge, and I have no other choice but to operate faster.
I mean, that's literally the most beautiful and exact advice and guidance and message I needed. So thank you so much. You are a gift, and I just really appreciate you.
Same here. Thanks for having me.